If you are looking to play at 4K resolution and you want to achieve the best performance possible, then this video is going to be for you. I will show you the best gaming PC builds for different budgets that will allow you to play at 4K with a very smooth gaming performance. I will explain to you the level of performance that you will get. That way, if you are a beginner, you will know what to expect when buying one of these systems. All the links to these PCs will be down below in the video description. With that being said, let's start. First, we are going to start talking about the cheapest PCs, and I'm talking about under $1,500. And these systems, trust me when I say, they will allow you to play at 4K, really smooth gameplay with no FPS drops. And the reason why you will be able to do that is because of the CPU and GPU combo, which I will talk about in a second. But before doing that, I want to show you the rest of the components. Here you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, which is not only great for gaming but also for streaming and content creation. Then you get a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply, A-tier rated unit, which means that it's going to be the best quality out there, and most importantly, your PC will not explode. Then you get a Montech Air 100 ARGB case, which I used in one of my most recent builds that I made for the channel. Honestly, it looks amazing, a really good airflow, 4 pre-installed fans, a front mesh panel, and in my opinion, one of the best looking cases in the market for the price. Then you get a 1TB Gen 4 SSD, which is really fast for gaming, and you can always upgrade the SSD very easily because you get a motherboard with 2 M.2 slots, which means that if down the line you want to upgrade the SSD, you will only have to place it into the other slot. And the most important part for gaming, the CPU and GPU combo. Here you get the Ryzen 5 7600X for the CPU, going on a discount right now for $180 when I'm recording this video. By the way, when you're watching this, maybe it's cheaper or maybe it's more expensive depending on the deal that you get. Anyway, this is a 6-core 12-thread processor that will allow you to play games like Fortnite performance mode at 240 plus FPS on average. So you are getting a system that's not only great for 4K AAA titles gaming, but also for high FPS shooters. And then for the graphics card, here you have 2 options. You can go with the RX 7900 XT from AMD or the NVIDIA RTX 4070 Ti Super. The 4070 Ti Super is $100 more expensive, and you get the NVIDIA feature set, which means that you get a better level of ray tracing performance. You get the DLSS, which is the better upscaler, and it's going to be helpful especially at 4K resolution if you want to play the latest AAA titles. And then you get a better level of content creation and productivity work because NVIDIA usually works better with this type of applications. Now, the 7900 XT is $100 cheaper and will give you about the same rasterized performance, maybe even slightly faster, but I will not get into too much detail about the comparison between these two because I made an entire video talking about NVIDIA versus AMD between these two graphics cards, so you can go ahead and watch that video. It will be in the top right of the screen. Anyway, in a nutshell, in my opinion, the 4070 Ti Super is better in terms of price to performance because you are already spending $700 on a GPU. You might as well spend $800 and get more features. Now, in terms of FPS performance at 4K resolution, high to ultra settings, by the way, in very high demanding titles like The Last of Us Part 1 or Cyberpunk 2077, the RTX 4070 Ti Super was able to average 70 FPS and 75 FPS on average for the 7900 XT. Keep in mind, we are talking about under $1,500 for both of these systems, and in terms of ray tracing performance, you can expect 86 FPS on average on high to ultra settings in high demanding titles at 1440p, by the way, from the 4070 Ti Super, and you can expect 66 FPS on average from the 7900 XT. So the 4070 Ti Super much faster when it comes to ray tracing performance, and even though we are talking about 1440p resolution here, if you turn on the upscaler technology, whether it's FSR or DLSS at 4K, you can expect around the same numbers at 4K. Now let's talk about pricing. The 7900 XT PC is going for $1,340 and the 4070 Ti Super is going for $1,440. So $100 more expensive for that system, but in my opinion, it's worth the upgrade. And then as a potential upgrade for both PCs, I recommend you upgrading the CPU to the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, only if you are going to be playing high CPU demanding titles, for example Fortnite low settings, or if you want to play simulators where the CPU is going to matter a bit more, for example in-flight simulator or Cities Skylines. It's also going to be helpful if you are going to be using DLSS or FSR, because when you turn on the upscaler upscaler, it's going to give you close numbers to a 1440p gaming experience. That being said, you are going to be utilizing more CPU, and for that reason the 7800X3D would be worth it in that case. If you're going to play high GPU demanding titles, native resolution, then you are not really going to notice a difference there, but otherwise this upgrade is going to give you a huge boost, and if you make this upgrade, the entire PC is going to cost you more, and the 4070 Ti Super system is going to be around $1,668, and the 7900XT system is going to be around $1,568 depending on when you're buying it and depending on the deals that you get, because remember, these are the prices from when I'm recording this video, which might be slightly different compared to when you buy it. Now let's talk about the around $2,000 gaming PCs. Here you already have the Ryzen 7 7800X3D with the appropriate CPU cooler in the Thermal Ride Phantom Spirit, which is going to be perfect for this CPU. Then you get a B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard, which is more of a high-end motherboard compared to the last one and has plenty of features for gaming. Then you get the same 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, a 1TB Gen 4 SSD, a Fantex XT Pro Ultra for the case, which in my opinion is one of the best looking cases out there for $70, 4 pre-installed fans again, and is a more premium quality than the last case, the Montec Air 100 ARGB. Then you get an A-tier rated 850 watt power supply instead of 750 watts, because it's going to be required since we are talking about higher end components, and the most important component, the graphics card. Of course, we have two options. You either get the 7900 XTX from AMD or the RTX 4080 Super from Nvidia, and the same thing happens here. The 7900 XT is cheaper, is actually about $150 cheaper, and it's going to give you slightly faster rasterized performance, but the 4080 Super has the better feature set. So once again, in my opinion, the 4080 Super is worth it, but of course more expensive. Talking about gaming performance, on that same 12 frame average I've mentioned before on high to ultra settings in high demanding titles, the 4080 Super was able to average 85 FPS and the 7900 XT around 93 FPS, and remember, this is rasterized performance, so if you turn on DLSS for Nvidia or FSR for AMD, which I do recommend at 4K resolution on high demanding titles, you can expect even higher frame rates depending on the game and depending on the settings. And when talking about ray tracing performance at 1440p, the 4080 Super was able to average over 100 FPS, while the 7900 XTX was able to average around 77 FPS. And as I said before, remember this, if you want to play with ray tracing enabled at 4K, I highly recommend you turning on the upscaler to get similar results to a 1440p ray tracing experience. Now, if you get the 4080 Super, the price for the entire system is going to be around $2,000, and if you get the 7900 XTX, the total price is going to be around $1,850. One potential upgrade here is going to be the SSD. If you are willing to spend over $2,000, I do recommend you upgrading to 2TB instead of 1TB, especially if you are going to be downloading a bunch of heavy games and the most recent AAA titles. And when it comes to easy to run games like Fortnite, you can expect well over 300 FPS on average at 4K low settings, or just competitive settings for any esports title that you play. For example, Valorant or CS2. And if you want the best of the best gaming PC, for around $3,000 you can get the best graphics card in the market and the best performance in the entire market, and I will get to that in a second. Before doing that, I want to show you the rest of the components, and if you are enjoying the video so far, leave a like and subscribe, is going to help the channel a lot. Now let's talk about the components. Here you get a 360 all-in-one liquid cooler, which is going to be a total overkill for the Ryzen 7 7800X3D, but if you want to upgrade your CPU down the line to a more beefy CPU, then this is going to help you a lot. Then you get the same high-end motherboard, 32 gigs of RAM, but here you get 2TB of Gen 4 SSD instead of 1TB. You get a premium quality case in the Deepcool CH560 digital. I love this case, in my opinion is the best one in terms of price to performance. And then you get a 1200 watt power supply, which is a lot of wattage, but the reason why I went with this power supply, which is A-tier rated by the way, is because I'm going with the RTX 4090 graphics card. This is the fastest graphics card in the entire market by far, and I'm talking about 110 plus FPS on average at 4K resolution rasterized performance on ultra settings. If we are talking about ray tracing at 1440p, you can achieve around 115 FPS on average, or once again if you turn on DLSS at 4K. So here you get the fastest graphics card in the entire market. And if you are looking for the best price to performance graphics card, this is clearly not the best because it's super expensive. But if you just want the best and you're willing to spend around $3,000 on your system, the 4090 is going to be your best option. And of course you can spend more money in your gaming PC if you want to. I don't think it's worth the price difference, because if we are talking about gaming, this is all that you are going to need. You definitely do not need to spend more money than this, but if you are willing to spend more money and you really want to spend all the amount of money that you can, then you will have systems that are more expensive down below in the video description. Just keep in mind that those PCs are going to be better when it comes to content creation and productivity work performance, but when it comes to gaming are going to perform basically the same as this 4090 system right here that is about $3,000, which is already fairly expensive. Remember that the links will be in the video description, and you will also have a link where you can get personal PC help from me, and it's completely free. So if you want me to take a look at your system, change some things if I see that something is wrong, or maybe just create the best PC that I can for you for your budget and needs, that will be the top link in the description. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, as I said before, subscribe to the channel and leave a like to help me grow with the YouTube algorithm, and let me know in the comment section what's your favorite PC game. I'm curious to see which one is your favorite, and I will see you on the next one.